around how people are saying that they don't want a daughter, but I don't want a son because they're the problem. Women are not the problem. Men are the problem because they contribute to no woman has done a fucking school shooting. Men do school shootings. Men do massive shootings. Women don't do that.
But women accuse men who haven't raped them of raping them.
But that doesn't matter because that's a very small number of women, but there's a very, very, very big number of women that have been raped or just sexually assaulted.
It's all men's fault that women sit on social media all day taking risky photos. It's also men's fault that women sell naked pictures online on OnlyFans. It's also men's fault because I just can't. I lost all my brain cells listening to these women.
They expect men to offer the world to them, and yet they provide absolutely nothing in return. Why would anyone put themselves through such misery? I would literally prefer to be on a deserted Pacific island completely alone for the rest of my life than be stuck in a relationship with one of these NPCs. Shout out to Jacob over here, who wanted to hear more about why men should not be with women, before being fully aware of the dangerous consequences. One of the biggest threats to men when it comes to being with a woman in today's world is the chance of that woman leaving with his assets, money, and resources. As a guy, you can imagine how hard it is when you're juggling work and personal commitments.
This is legit the video that got tens of millions of views. This accent needs to be illegal, and women should be banned from doing manual labor like this. There is nothing feminine about American women. American women are literally men.
Good morning, y'all. Quick update on the house, because I've been pretty terrible about giving y'all these. We took a little break for noodling season and to put out boxes. Now that it's dried in, we can do it at our own pace, but here she is.
This is legit the video. People were saying, the accent is so disgusting. Tomboys are not hot. I repeat, tomboys are not hot. Attraction to tomboys is homosexuality. Oh my goodness. It's just so off base to me. Nothing about her is really screaming masculinity to me other than the fact that she's working on a house, which I think is pretty cool. You are overcompensating, it seems, for something. I think attraction for men is pretty simple. They look at you and think, is she attractive? Yes or no?
Looking for a woman is like looking for a new or used car. You see one you like, so you pull over to check it out a little closer. The paint looks good, the tires work well, no broken glass. Someone walks out and asks if you're interested, and you ask to look under the hood, but the seller is reluctant and says, what a great sound system it has. They just put on new seat covers. Let's look under the hood. The hood comes up, the motor is a greasy mess, and the hoses look as old as Moses. Let's start it up. After some coughing and sputtering, it starts with a puff of smoke and you say, ah, hi, no, and walk away.
Just when you think it was 10, baby mama, on your best fucking day!
What is your body count, and does body count matter?
Oh my goodness, I lost count a long time ago, but I knew it was about 25 by the time I graduated high school.
Huh? What do you guesstimate it's at now?
Maybe like 800?
Damn! Lord G.
I don't understand why women can casually mention they lost their virginity before 18, and no one bats an eye about it. But an older man wanting to get with an 18-year-old is super taboo when the 18-year-old could already have a body count of 30. If you give a woman constant validation, she'll assume you're a simp. The really bad thing is that in order to keep most women, you cannot give them repeated validation, nor tell them that you love them all the time. What men are freely willing to give to a woman they love will ruin your relationship with them. You have to be dismissive and go against your natural desire to tell them how you feel. In your mind, they should know this, but if you don't make them work for it, they won't appreciate it. You 100% need to be a challenge in order to keep them on track. Most of them have simple, childlike minds that require the constant manipulation most men abhor. They're naturally deceptive and will push boundaries and sneak around. As I said, childlike. They can't keep their hands out of the proverbial cookie jar. Impulsive, lacking self-control, and discipline beyond following orders, under supervision. Loneliness for a man is not the same as for a woman. Men adapt and realize the depth within themselves, and the reflection that projects outside giving meaning and purpose. Women hardly, and only a few, adapt to such cold realization, to look into oneself and be able to content with the fact that only you, have you and no one else. For the social creatures that they are, it would be maddening to have no one else but the toxic 30s, 40s, and 50s hyenas that have kept them and still keep them single and miserable. Indeed, misery really enjoys company. There is a study that younger men are single because of low status. Once they gain status through wealth, education, etc., that is, better themselves, it gets easier and easier for men to get a partner. This takes time, so older men usually are taken. The reverse is true with women. They are the prime of their lives when young, and when the older they get, the less desirable they become. For far too long, society has been indifferent to the eternal, thankless struggle of being a man. Men who have spent their entire lives for the sake of their family, protecting, providing, and ensuring the health and prosperity of their loved ones. Men who have worked day and night, fought wars, and carried the burden of tribes, families, and entire communities, are now being tested and manipulated by entitled women the world over. Women like to take the back seat and let males take the initiative to approach them and do various other things. Men are also treated like they're disposable. Additionally, they might watch from a distance and evaluate and criticize men for what they see to be their poor judgments or for their strategy. Better to go forward if they can accomplish it, but they refrain from doing so out of fear and uncertainty. No matter what, men are supposed to get over their anxieties and insecurities, the height of hypocrisy. Feminism has been beneficial in one particular way. It has given women a sense of self-assurance, which, regrettably, transforms into aggression and greatly repels men. They should use that self-assurance to make small talk with a guy they may have their eye on, perhaps only to get to know him better, rather than trying to start a relationship. It need not entail being isolated from your friends. They don't, mostly because they don't want to be treated in the same way that they treat men when they approach them. They will have to put up with rude rejections in their daily lives if they want to even remotely comprehend what a guy goes through. When you're young, asking a woman out on a date might be quite scary since you have all kinds of anxieties that come to mind. Women often enjoy going on dates since you never know what can happen. You could discover a man you want to wed, and he might feel the same way. But first, learn a little about one another before moving on. Guys and girls, get rid of all your ego and self-importance and act in a way that you would like to be treated. Then you may engage in a positive, polite interaction. Don't imagine that marriage is always blissful just because you are running through rocket fuel quickly for a while. Marriage may be difficult labor at times. When that goes away, you'll just be left with the person you really know. So, think critically. I know that sometimes this is bad advice since I've been there. Honestly, it's just common sense. If you tell someone something enough times, eventually, they'll get it and just move on. That's kind of why guys are just abandoning the dating world. You either self-isolate because you feel that society wants you dead, or you're just content with your life and the things that you do have. The point is, you realize that you have to accept that you made a bad decision. But women in this day and age don't want to accept the fact that they wasted something, and they have to accept that again. Logically, you really should have seen this coming. No wonder men are careful. We live in a world where there is always a chance we end up on social media as a story they will use to get attention, respect, or bolster their feminism. And the worst case, they'll shame you with a name, picture, or video, just for them to feel better about themselves. Fear and respect go hand in hand with all things in nature. You fear the predator in the wild enough so that you respect it enough not to approach. One misadventure in our civilized society can cause a man a complete loss of his reputation, finances, and in the worst case, freedom. Being angry at the predator is irrelevant because it is in its nature. The overriding question, whether with investing money, playing sports, or approaching a woman, what is my likelihood of success? If a man is not in the top 2%, then he is more likely to start a business and see it provide a good income for him in 5 years than to approach a woman and get married a few years later. It is very likely that if a man approaches a woman, she will see him as a creep and potential predator. If Western women demand to be equal to men, it is only fair to change the rules in dating. Women should approach men when they are interested. The worst a woman could face is rejection. Now that is being equal. A guy shouldn't have to pay for dinner, open vehicle doors, or perform any of the other tasks traditionally associated with men, since, as good men know, women are now free. It should no longer be the male who asks the lady out because too many women want to have their cake and eat it too. It ought to apply to women as well. Although women have lost a lot over the years, they now cause it themselves. Men nowadays have just opted not to engage in any actions that might be seen as disrespectful or invalidating by women. Males have noticed that women's treatment of males has recently deteriorated. They rejected the contempt and humiliation shown by women in favor of their reputation, honesty, and respect. Seriously, I'd be much better off not approaching women because I've heard stories of women calling the cops over guys approaching them. There was nothing wrong with the guys, it was just that they did not fit their profile in the looks and money departments. So, why would I or anyone put myself through something like this? It doesn't make sense. Also, I think a very high percentage of women are just not even worth approaching anymore. I think that's what they want, to be publicly valued by men, so they can show off in their circles, humiliate the guy, and feel validated, which isn't happening for her, because there aren't any more guys approaching them. Men are now starting to wake up and understand all of this. They don't have time to waste worrying about women who make interacting with them pointless. Women don't appear to be aware of how essentially rigged the game is against guys. They desire what they desire. Men will also no longer engage in accepting the unsupportive behaviors of women. They're done being used for nothing. This is happening in 2023, and I predict this will keep on happening for the next 10 years. After that, there will come a time when it will be normal for guys to not approach women, and women will have to really work to get a man's attention, to get a bit of the free validation they used to get before. For women, it's always about validation, and that's never going to change, no matter how independent, woke, or liberated they become. They will always need guys and other women to validate them for everything they do. And that is why today, American women are not really women. They've lost their feminine side. They've been so brainwashed to achieve the same level of pay and the same level of social power that men have had, that they've let go of their feminine selves, not realizing that they're not hardwired to do what men do seamlessly. Fight, survive, compete, work hard, and never complain. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Support us and help us spread support for men around the world. Do comment and share your thoughts. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.